Our theme this month is stewardship. I love our planet. In his book, Effective Prayer, page 53, Ernest Holmes shares this wisdom. We are part of the matrix of our planet. It not only makes a difference in how we treat the earth physically, our state of being, our emotions, have an effect on living things. All living things, including our planet, Mother Earth. Sufi teacher Llewellyn Vaughan Lee wrote in Spiritual Ecology, The Cry of the Earth, page 141, the current environmental movement is driven by fear of doom and disaster. That cannot be the right motivation for a truly sustainable future. Love and reverence for the earth will automatically result in sustainability, harmony, and coherence. Please affirm with me with love and reverence. I recognize that Mother Earth is a sacred creation of God. It is our common home. Therefore, I let go of apathy, overconsumption, and other attitudes that harm the planet. I choose thoughts, words, and actions that lead to ecological renewal and sustainability. Thank you.
So the impact of our emotions.
Not only on ourselves, and we know what the impact of emotions on ourselves is, and our relationships. And so let's just extend it to realize that it's affecting the entire planet, and that this beautiful planet that we call Earth is alive. And that's the theme of this month is to bring back that awareness of the life that this entire planet is, not just our lives or the lives of animals or even plants, but that the rocks, the trees, everything is alive with the Spirit. It's the individualized expression of the Spirit, of the divine, of God. So when we come from this perspective, then my question is, so what is mine to do? And I know it's about raising our vibration to love, but what's the path to get there? And so I want to offer two ways of looking at that this month or today. And the first one is a path of what we teach here in our spiritual tradition of not just covering over our false beliefs with affirmations, but what is it that we do? What's the path that supports us in unearthing what's in the subconscious mind? And all of the emotions that are, and the memories and things like that, the traumas that are stuck in our bodies and our cells. How do we release that so that we're not just covering a volcano with icing? Which is what happens if we just do affirmations alone and we don't do the deep inner work. We're just covering the volcano with icing. I kind of like that. Do you know how well that's going to work, right? So let's look at that then. Let's begin with this idea of the impact of our emotions and then how to use the emotions. I don't want to vilify emotions, first of all. Let's do that first. Emotions serve a really important purpose in our lives on many levels. We have been designed to survive and thrive on this planet, and emotions are part of the mix, part of our humanity. So one of the things that has happened often in recent years, or at least maybe back when I was growing up, is I wasn't allowed to be angry, as a kid. You're not allowed to be. Little girls do not get angry, and so I got kind of hooked into fear because the anger was not appropriate, and got kind of down that track. Well, but whatever it is for you, we can utilize those emotions to catapult us into higher orders of being. And I would like to use the example of how our practitioners work in this center, and I'm one of them. You know, we've all been trained to work with people individually and help them to move up in consciousness, up the ladder of consciousness. So I'd like to use an acronym for you, an acronym for fear. And often the way people respond to fear is, I want to make sure I have this correct, is forget everything and run. Forget everything and run. Or, you know, what I was thinking of, applying it today even more so, is forget everything and repress. So this is why I believe we've gotten ourselves into this situation on the planet where trash is just thrown anywhere, where plastics are getting into the ocean. You know, I could go on and on and on, all of the things that are happening. It's because there is a state of denial that's taking place, a denial of the impact of our actions and our emotions on the planet, a denial of our oneness and unity and interdependence with our beloved planet, and a kind of a belief that the planet is separate and something for us to exploit. And that is what has gotten us into the situation where we are now. Now, what I'm aware of is the people who are sitting here, you're here because you're the conscious ones, right? You're the ones who realize this, and that's why you're here in community, because we want to know what is it that we can do to contribute to this next evolution, this next revolution of consciousness, of humanity, that will really be the tipping point and get us to a place where everybody is truly working together on a higher level. So again, what we don't want to do is we don't want to do spiritual bypass, which is what I was talking about with the icing on the volcano, of just basically burying your emotions, pretending like nothing's really happening, or making up a story that it's not really happening and why it's not really happening. But the truth is we need to look at these suppressed emotions that are wreaking havoc on our bodies. You know, people going to psychiatrists and psychologists are at an all-time high. And people who are in the field of, they call it climate psychology. There's actually a field now called climate psychology, are realizing that what's happening on the greater planet is showing up in higher levels of anxiety and depression on our planet. So it is important for us to look at the great big picture, not just what's happening in our own individual lives, but what's happening on a grand scale. So what we want to do instead is use that acronym of fear and face everything and rise. You like that one? I love that one. Face everything and rise. So a healthy way to rise in consciousness. So instead of spiritual bypass, then we face our fears. We face what's happening, and we allow that to be an evolutionary driver. We take a look at what's happening, and we allow that to motivate us to do the inner work that will transform us at a deep level, so that when we take action in the world, it's coming from a different place. It's not coming from fear. It's coming from, I love this planet. I love the people on the planet. I love the animals and the plants. What Marianne was expressing in that beautiful prayer this morning, to be in a state of love and appreciation. And when we do that, it's a whole different ballgame, because that energy, that emotional energy, has an impact on our actions, on how the actions take place, and on how effective they are. face everything and rise. Okay, so let me illustrate. When you work with a practitioner, your session generally starts with a question of, what do you want? Or even better, what is your deepest longing or desire? What is your deepest longing or desire? And then when you say that, and usually what it is, it's, I just truly want to be in greater service. I want to be a greater expression of love. I want to be so stable in all areas of my life that I can truly give my gifts to the planet. So, I mean, that's what my deepest desire is. I'm just sharing that, but, it might be a little different for you. So when we look at our deepest desire, then we get to tell the practitioner the story of why it's not happening, why it's not that way right now. And all the reasons that we give as to why we're not living that now are our limiting beliefs. All the reasons we give. Well, I'm not doing that now because I have to work at a job that I don't like. Well, I'm not doing that now because I have to pay the bills. Or I'm not doing that now because nobody supports me. Whatever your beliefs, whatever those stories are, those are clues to the limiting beliefs. The limiting beliefs. And those limiting beliefs are the beliefs that you must release. That's the stuff in the volcano. That's all the lava that I was talking about. You kind of need to clean out the volcano so that when you put on the icing, it stays, it sticks. So you get to face the impact of your limiting beliefs and emotions on your life by telling your old story. And by feeling the feelings fully, this is what happens. This is the cool thing, and this is shown by science, is that it clears the mind. It clears the mind so that the cerebral cortex is now able to function and see and think clearly, and not only see the limiting beliefs, but see the possibilities, catch a higher vision for our lives. So you not only get to face limiting beliefs and your emotions that run your life, you get to face, what would my life be like without the limiting beliefs? What would it be like if I didn't carry these burdens, these inner burdens around with me? Then the practitioner and you together design an affirmation that is the opposite of the beliefs, the reasons you've given that you can't do it or be it, and that give you homework to do that on a regular basis. And then what you do is you end in a prayer. And the kind of prayer that we teach here is called spiritual mind treatment. It's an affirmative prayer. It is knowing the truth that sets you free. I think that's the most beautiful description of spiritual mind treatment that I can give. It's a prayer of knowing the truth that sets you free. And it can also involve using the law of elimination to eliminate the false beliefs and to install or implant the truth of your being, of who you are. So by doing this, we move from fear to faith and love and light by unearthing and removing the false beliefs, by facing the truth of who we are, the amazing light and love that we are, the gifts that we have to give to the planet. It's a movement from separation to oneness, from fear to faith, from fear to love. So we face everything and rise. The environmental crisis can best be addressed with people of high consciousness. I truly believe that. And so this practice, however many times you've done it, is a powerful practice. Powerful practice. I think, Marianne, you're such a great demonstration, and thank you for being so open about your process. Coming here, being into gloom and doom, right, in the early stages. And through spiritual practice, through spiritual study, she's taken all the classes. Now she's teaching classes. She has made a dramatic shift. Anybody who knew Marianne back then knows that she is now living her true self. She's living as that vibrant light that she is. There are many others in this community who have made the same journey. And so if you're sitting out there and you've just kind of been dabbling a little bit and haven't really jumped in with both feet, I invite you to join our foundations class and get the process started. The next piece that I want to talk about is a spiritual practice of love and reverence. At one point, humanity had a holistic view of Earth and life and cosmos as all one, as all part of the great Creator and ourselves as well. Alive, sacred, and awake and aware. And the term for this is anima mundi, life, a lively or an awakened or an aware or a soulful earth. With the advent of scientific reductionism and the view of God as external, Earth became separate, and when that happened, of course, then mindless pollution of the landscape followed. Fortunately, our indigenous brothers and sisters have kept this idea of the sacredness and the soulfulness of the earth and its creatures alive with their ceremonies, with their prophecies, with their teachings, and that has been spreading. And it's actually now entering the mystical aspects, or has been for quite some time, of all the world religions. There's a wake-up that's taking place on all levels of the life of the planet, this lively, awake, aware planet that we are part of. There's a woman by the name of Janine Marie Hogan. She calls herself a writer, a scholar, and a wilderness wanderer. And she delights in giving her students an opportunity to participate in an intelligent and animate cosmos and earth. She sends them out on, she calls them brief solo conversations with nature. She sends them out asking them to offer some sort of love and reverence to the rocks, the meadows, the lizards, the finches, the ponderosa, all of the creatures and all of the parts of nature. And in doing so, what she has found is that her students come back transformed. And here's an example. There's a young man who had a long history of activism in the wildlife movement. And when he came back from his solo conversation with nature, he came back wide-eyed and deeply trained, deeply changed, deeply transformed. Another woman said that she entered a small clearing during her brief conversation time and felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand up and her skin prickle. I call those God bumps. She had God bumps. And she said that she had the sense of a grand sentient being, Mother Earth, witnessing her. Very, very profound experience. Another woman who felt completely like an intruder in nature, when she came back, she said that she had the experience of unifying with the planet, becoming Mother Earth, and being Mother Earth walking. So those are just some examples of the beautiful things that have happened by this practice of going into nature alone and having brief conversations with the planet. I did that last night on my walk. I dedicated my walk to having a conversation with Mother Earth. And I just came back just lit up And the other really interesting thing that happened, I don't know if anybody's ever experienced this, but I would walk by, photosensitive lights, the lampposts, and when I would walk by them, they'd go out.
Yeah.
And so what I told myself, it's because I was shining so brightly. I don't know if that's the truth or not, but or that it was Mother Earth winking at me. Another experience that I would like to share with you happened some time ago, but it was so profound. My whole entire life I've been in awe and in wonder of the planet, and I have spent a lot of time outdoors. When I was a kid, I was outdoors all the time. And I grew up in western Pennsylvania, so I remember being in the meadows as a little kid and looking at the flowers and the lilies of the valley. And then when I was we moved down to Florida when I was age 6. And so we spent a lot of time at the ocean, the beach. And then as an adult, we've spent a lot of time camping and hiking and biking outdoors. So my love and reverence for the planet is just, at this point, just a part of me. It's who I am. I remember, though, one very profound moment. Dan and I were hiking through the Alps near Zermatt, and we stopped for lunch, and there was a stream rushing down the mountain. We sat right by the stream, and I stood up, and I looked around, and all of a sudden, everything was alive. It's like everything was shimmering. Everything was energy and not solid form anymore. And I remember the God bumps and then the tears. And I turned around to Dan. I'm sure he didn't know what the heck was going on with me, but anyway, it was so powerful. And then on our way back down, we entered back into the little village of Zermatt. And I was so high, I said, wow, look at all the red, white, and blue flowers. I was talking about all the flowers in the flower box. And we both ended up laughing hysterically because Dan pointed out to me, that looks like yellow and that looks like orange. I don't see any red, white, and blue anywhere. So anyway, my point is that the practice of being in love and reverence with the planet, with Mother Earth, giving yourself that time alone in nature, without the mind chatter and without having a conversation with the other person, which is another thing that's nice, but on your own. Anybody do that? Anybody take time in nature? Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? So let's just turn within in this moment now and just give thanks for this opportunity to be that emotion, that feeling of gratitude and love and reverence for our beloved planet, knowing that it comes up from the very essence of who we are, because we are love. We are made in the likeness and image of the one life, presence, power, source, God, Spirit, the great divine I am. We are of that presence. We are of that love. And so that love is really natural for us. And I'm so grateful for that knowing. And I know that as we continue to tap into that love, to nurture that love, to express that love for each other, for ourselves, for the planet, that what we are doing is we are participating in that grand tipping point that's taking place all over the planet as humanity is lighting up to who they are in truth. Knowing that divine right action is taking place on behalf of our planet everywhere. Just read Optimist Daily. You find out all the things that are happening, and it's grand and it's wonderful. But again, let's use our emotions when we do see things that aren't working. Use those emotions to catapult us. Let's not go in denial. Let's use those emotions to just go deeper, to release anything else that's in the way, and to therefore step forward into right action. And knowing that our actions are providing a future, not only for ourselves, for our children, our grandchildren, but for many generations to come. And for this, I give my thanks. I release this word into the universal law of mind, and so it is.